Hello everyone and welcome to the first ever episode of Albion Obsessed with me, Joe, and my old buddy...
Toby. Hello everyone.
Hey, there he is. Yeah, so in this podcast all we're going to be sort of covering is, well, as you can tell by the title, the Albion. That's Brighton and Hove Albion. If there's any West Brom fans listening, you'd probably want to go over to one of your podcasts. But yeah, we're just going to touch on match recaps, bit of transfer news here and there when it happens, if it ever happens. And yeah, just everything Albion, really. Toby, how are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm doing well. Really enjoyed the match yesterday, as I'm sure we'll touch on. But yeah, really excited about the Albion this season. Really excited to get this podcast going. Looking forward to getting a few people on to give their opinions about the games and whatnot. So yeah, really buzzing at the moment, mate.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it was such a good game yesterday. Amazing start to the season, which, as you say, we will definitely touch on. But yeah, we can't wait to sort of get people involved. You know, this is going to be a podcast for the fans, really. We're going to try and get as much match reaction as we can going forwards, and just make it one for the fans. If you've got something to say about it, let us know. We'll get you on, and we'll get your voice out there, as long as it's not, overly controversial. We'll give you a go. But yeah, so we'll just talk about obviously the match yesterday, and how amazing it was to be back, Toby.
Yeah,
A full Amex. Nothing tops that. How was it for you?
I mean, the pandemic has been awful for everyone. I'm not just talking about Brighton fans. I'm talking for every single person across the country, across the world. But it just felt like the first step back to real normality. I've been to the pub and it's been a bit, everyone's still distancing, but nothing quite like an Albion game to get me to hug a stranger during a pandemic. It was just brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, unbelievable turnout. I don't think it was quite as many as what they announced. I think they announced 29,000. Looked more like maybe 24, 25. But still, when I was sat there, I was looking around and I was like, is this the same empty stadium that we were seeing on Sky Sports every week? It just didn't feel real. Having, as you say, strangers hug you when we score, even though we're not really allowed to. But nothing takes that feeling of scoring a goal away and hugging a stranger at a football match. And everyone was really safe. Lateral flow test negative, double jabs. So I don't think you could fault the club really in how they got everything sorted. Well, not just the club, the whole Premier League really. And dare I say it, the government for getting it right and getting us back to the football. It's just great to have that back, as you say. There was one story which someone sent us in just before the game yesterday, and I just want to touch on that really. The guy's name's Tyler, so thank you, Tyler, for sending this in. And Toby, if you just wanted to, if you've got it up there,
yeah, I have.
Just wanted to read through it. I just thought it was amazing to share.
Yes, yeah, I'll read through it. It's a really touching story actually. About what football means to him, what Albion means to him, and on this podcast we are all Albion obsessed. So Tyler would love to have you on one day to hear more of your story and exactly what football and means to you, basically.
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
I'll start reading it now. So it's
Yep.
Hey again, just seen your tweet and think I've got quite a unique take on the return. Also, just before I start waffling, just want to say congrats for smashing it with the massive follower jump. Thank you, Tyler. We do appreciate your congratulations.
Yep.
But he says he hasn't been to the Amex since 2016-2017 season because he finished uni in Brighton and moved away to chase his career with full focus. He grew up in Brighton and followed the Albion for as long as he can remember. He never had any family that went to games with him, and even in the years later, he never had a regular pal to go to the games with every week. Quite often he'd meet new people at the games. Some are still friends now, but always new faces every week in some way. The 2016-17 slogan of Together was very apt, because even as a skint student there'd always be people to meet, new and old, all with one thing in common: the Albion. Moving away from work was a massive leap of faith, and he always had the challenge of finding enough security in his career as possible to make sure he could find the time and cash to go to the games as soon as possible. In early 2020, work was going well, and it looked like I could catch the tail end of the season. Then COVID hit. Football is more than the 90 minutes. It's the people. It's the moments shared, the anger, the joy, the new faces and the emotions we all feel about it. Knowing that he was close to going back, but seeing it ripped away was hard. And watching them every week on TV was quite depressing. My girlfriend has gone from not liking football at all before lockdown to being there at the Getafe game last week with me, chanting, "Lewis Dunk, he's one of our own." That's how the Albion get under your skin. I've missed out on so much. That Pascal screamer against West Brom in 2017. That Everton 93rd minute winner. That United win. Which one? Those Izquierdo belters. Lamptey bombing forward. That Andoni goal. That City win. Tomorrow, the journey continues, and we're finally back for the ride.
Spine tingling, mate. Absolutely spine tingling. And the reason we wanted to share that was because it just, it's a story that a lot of people will resonate with. It's a story that, COVID hit everyone. A lot of people just before they were about to be season ticket holders for the first time. My dad being one of them, and he had his first game as a season ticket holder since I think the 1980s. Correct me if I'm wrong, Dad. I'm sure he'll text me after he listens to this. But yeah, as I said, it just sums up what it feels like to be an Albion fan and what football means to everyone. Supporters across the country, they'll listen to that story and they'll be nodding the whole way through. It's just unbelievable. And as he says, you see new faces all the time. You speak to people that you probably in your normal day-to-day life would never speak to. And as Tyler said, you've got one thing in common, and that's the Albion. So yeah, amazing story, Tyler, and thank you for sharing it with us. If anyone's got any more stories that they'd like to share with us to be read out, or even to come on here and share it with us, please get in contact with us on Twitter, Albion Obsessed. Same on Instagram as well. So yeah, really love that, Tyler. Thank you very much. And as well, just a quick shout out to everyone that's followed us on Twitter. It's been amazing. At the start of last week, we had 55 followers on this page. Going into today, we've got 460, I think. So yeah, unbelievable support, and also a huge shout out to Ryan Adset as well for giving us a shout out. Which I think that's where the majority of our followers came from. So really thank you for that, mate. Yeah, so amazing to be back yesterday, Toby. And we just touched on the game, really. 2-0 against Watford. Another win in the bag. What did you think?
Yeah, it was, the first half, it was all-round brilliant performance, I thought. There was literally not one person I could fault. Going into the second half, I was a little bit disappointed with how much we sort of sat back towards the end, but I have to recognise that we did it well. Sometimes I feel like an Albion team can be 2-0 up, sit back towards the end of the game, and then capitulate. But we did it well last night, and I was really, really, really happy with that. First half, I just thought the whole team and the way Yves Bissouma just constantly chasing after the ball, constantly getting the ball. It just shows for Morpé's goal. Bissouma was there, alert to the danger, quickly got the tackle in, and he got the assist from the tackle. It was just wonderful to watch, and the fact we've got a player like Bissouma still in this team, didn't lose him, and we lost Ben White, which to be fair isn't that much of a loss because Shane Duffy is probably a better defender. It just really made me happy, and all of that mixed in with the fact that we were back at the football, just unreal.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. Just touching on the goals, obviously, amazing moment for Shane Duffy to get a goal on his Amex return. The crowd was singing his name the whole game. Every time he got on the ball, every time he was making a clearance or scoring a goal now. It's just unbelievable, and he looks so happy to be back. I'm so delighted for him. Obviously, Malpay didn't play the second half and took a little injury to his shoulder. Hopefully, not too bad. Graham Potter said that they're going to be sort of monitoring him over the next 24, 48 hours, see how sort of serious that is. So hopefully, not too long on the sidelines, because just hitting a run of form, looking really sharp. I have to say, he looked really sharp even before his goal. Um, Darting in between the Watford defenders, causing real trouble. So I really hope he's not out for too long. So yeah, amazing performance. As you say, yeah, we did drop off a little bit, but I think that's to be expected. We went 2-0 up. Watford, of course, they're going to try and push to get a goal to sort of push us right to the end. But to be honest, they look completely toothless. Or, Toby, did we make them look toothless?
I think we made them look too close. I think the defensive display was really, really good. Another shout out to, although he probably wouldn't get my man of the match, Solly March just was unbelievable yesterday. I mean, even as a winger turned fullback, he just was clearing everything that came his way. I just think that Watford, they just couldn't get past the five at the back, and I think it's another marvel of Graham Potter's that he can set up so well with that five at the back that it does make teams look toothless. And I think at times some of the top teams when they're against us look toothless for 90 minutes. The only problem with sitting back is you're not as likely to score a goal, which is why I don't think that we've had a great record against the top six, but I think we've done really well against them.
Yeah, for sure.
Another shout out, and I think a lot of people were getting on his back, but I actually think it was a good performance. He got in the positions he needed to from half time. It was Aaron Connolly. It was sad to see him miss that shot because I think he could have done with that confidence boost. But I do think that he was getting in all the right positions, making all the right runs. I think he looked electric. I think on another day, if he started that game, then I think he probably would have scored. And it was just a shame that he was on the pitch during our defensive time,
Right, exactly.
But don't get on Aaron Connolly's back for that miss because he really looked electric. He could be a big asset for us this season.
Yeah, for sure. I think he just needs to, dampen out this whatever he's doing in training, having hissy fits left, right, and centre. I think that's why fans sort of get on him a little bit, is because the professionalism isn't quite there. But I have to agree with you. At the end of the day, it's about what they do on the football pitch and what they do for our football club. And yeah, he worked his socks off from the moment he got on the pitch to the moment the final whistle went. So I don't think people can get on his back for that performance. If he had just been strolling around, not running, not trying, not getting into the positions, as you say, Toby, then yeah, there's some room for some criticism. But yeah, as you say, all the right positions, working hard, that's all you ask for. And on another day, as you say, he probably bags. So yeah, please stop sending Aaron Connolly abuse. But I did like his song yesterday, although I'm not sure whether he likes it or not. I saw his reaction at the Luton game, and he didn't seem best pleased, but So yeah, Toby, man of the match, really. You touched on Solly March. I thought was amazing. I've got probably 4 or 5 players that I could pick for my man of the match. I've said all along with Solly March, even when Chris Hughton was in charge, I've always said he could make a decent left wing back. And when Potter came in, obviously he tried him there, and it's been like a new signing, and he's done so well. So glad he's back. But then obviously we might have Cucurella coming in. So does Solly March lose his place? What do you think happens with Solly March?
I think it's going to be a good competition for that position. I don't think that Cucurella has played that position his whole life as well. I think that in the past, I think he's played sort of in the centre as well, like a centre defensive mid sort of role. So I wouldn't be opposed to seeing him as like a similar Basuma type player. I think, but even still, March has shown that he can get injured. and just having the competition for positions will make them both perform exceedingly well. Especially in that sort of position, you want to have cover because they are constantly running. They're going to get tired, and I think that you want to have the option of two really good players. That's just why when we have Veltman and Lamptey, I feel really comfortable because you've got either or, and neither are going to get tired. But if we're talking about the man of the match from yesterday's game, now obviously I don't want to go for the boring answer and say Bissouma because he probably really is my man of the match. But I'm actually going to give another shout out to Pascal Gross and go for Gross as my man of the match. He assisted from the corner.
Yeah.
He just every set piece we looked lively. The box was moving about, and it was due to the fact that Pascal Gross didn't have one. He didn't set 1 foot wrong at all. I don't think the whole game. Again, playing on the right wing back sort of position, he really didn't look bad at all. I thought he went quite well into that position, even though that's not his natural position. Looked good all game. You know, every time he got on the ball, I thought he was going to cross turn the defender and get a ball in. But yeah, I'm going to go with Gross.
Toby, I'm just going to correct you there, mate. It's called the Pascal Gross turn now. he's taken it over. I can't agree with the man of the match the man of the match choice, but only because I think there was someone who performed better. I'm not saying Pascal Gross wasn't good yesterday. I think a lot of people aren't happy with where Pascal Gross plays. But as you say, he's done his job. He's done really well. He's got Adam Webster on that side as well to cover him on the defensive side. And gets the crosses in and gets people moving in the box. Just touching on, obviously, us from set pieces, having Adam Webster, Lewis Dunk and Shane Duffy in the box, I pray for the team defending that. Because, imagine, I've defended Shane Duffy, but now I've got Lewis Dunk tearing down on me like a tank. It's scary stuff. Unfortunately, Toby, I am going to go for the boring pick of man of the match, and I am going to pick Bissouma because he was everywhere. He covered every single blade of grass. He was flying in tackles. He was covering people when they were bursting forward, covering Adam Webster when he made those, charging runs into the final third of the opposition. I thought he was, untouchable. And obviously the tackle and the assist for Malpay's goal, I thought was fantastic. I feel like Bissouma needs to add a little bit more like that to his game, in terms of getting forward and providing assists and even having a few shots himself. Because opposition teams, they just back off of him, don't they? They just seem really scared of him. So I'm delighted we've still got him. I'm really happy he's still in an Albion shirt. Hopefully he will be on the 1st of September as well. But I think he's here to stay. He looks like he loves it. You saw him, dancing in front of the North Stand yesterday. You just love to see it, Toby.
Oh yeah, I'm right in the middle of that, making sure I get my tequila chant on and Bissouma. And he does love it. He doesn't look like he's going anywhere before the end of the window. And if he is, we're getting 60 million minimum. Do you know what I mean? He's if we can get rid of Ben White, arguably our third best centre back, probably fourth best behind Duffy actually. And if we can get rid of him for 50 million, I don't see Tony Bloom shipping Bissouma for anything less than 60.
Yeah, exactly. And we don't need to sell. We don't need to sell him. And if we don't need to sell him and he's not requesting a move, then great. It's good for all parties. I just hope we get him tied down on a longer term deal, so that if anyone does come in for him next season, because I'm sure he's going to have an even better season than he did last season. And if he does that, you'll be looking at the likes of probably Liverpool, Man City sniffing around for him.
I feel it'll be Real Madrid, PSG. I think I mean, he is probably he is the best player I've seen in a Brighton shirt, excluding Lewis Dunk.
Wow,
I think he goes to like Vicente level of like mesmerizing. I remember watching Vicente and being like, you know,
Yeah,
I can't comprehend what he's doing. I think there was a chance in the box yesterday when Basuma was there, had it on his right foot, quickly put his left foot around the back of his right foot to ping it through and run back onto it. I don't even think you'll see that in the highlights because I don't think it actually amounted to anything. But watching that at the time, I'm thinking, how has he just got through three defenders with that one little skill move?
yeah.
He's completely mesmerising. What a player! I genuinely think he might even surpass Lewis Dunk as someone who's the best player in an Albion shirt. But obviously, Lewis Dunk being a one club man, it's just it's hard to say that. But I think it might be
Yeah.
true.
Yeah, for sure. I think if he has even the same season that he had last season, this season, I think that he does become one of the greatest that's ever worn the Albion shirt. Especially if you say, as you say, if he goes on to a Real Madrid or a PSG type level, then yeah. And also, if he does move to those clubs, can you really blame him for taking that chance?
No, no. You
Given
just
that
like you can't blame Ben White. You've got to let these players go, and that when they have that sort of offer, that's just the way a small club works. I'm afraid.
for sure. Obviously, it's really early on in the season, but I'm just throwing this out there, just as a how funny it would be, like if we had a better season than Arsenal.
Oh, I would love it. And you know what? It's not far away from happening. Arsenal had a terrible season last season. If they have a similar season, I can see us having a really good season and getting above them, I think Arsenal are due to finish, I think I said in my prediction, somewhere between the region of 6th and ninth on the
Yeah.
Centre Spotcast. So I can definitely see Brighton being up there. Whether we're ready that this season, I'm not sure, and I don't want to get carried away with the first two results, but
Yeah, I mean, we've played Burnley and we've played Watford. I think the real test is next month. I think we've got both Man City and Liverpool. I think back to back, which is a little bit scary. But it's really good to get off to a great start. These are the kind of games that last season we were struggling to win. If you look at us against Sheffield United last season, they weren't obviously newly promoted, but they were the same kind of caliber as what we've already played, and we really struggled against them. But yesterday we saw off Watford. They didn't look to threaten us at all. We look really comfortable. We can score goals. We're outperforming XG. So it's a really good start. And I don't want to sound like I'm getting too carried away. Like obviously we were singing yesterday. We're all going on a European tour. But hey, it could happen if this carries on. If we keep performing the way we are, you can only play what's in front of you. You can only beat what's in front of you. So, yeah, long may it continue. So yeah, obviously next week is a little bit of a tougher test, Toby. It's Everton at home. What do you think for that one? Do you think we're gonna
are we
carry
going
on the
straight
form?
to Everton, or are we going to talk about the cup match against Cardiff during the week?
Oh, sugar. Sorry, I completely forgot about that tin pot trophy.
Don't worry, I had as well until I just looked it up, and I just think maybe we should mention it because I think
You
it would
know,
be good to see some like second. I don't want to say second rate, but they are the second team. But it would be good to see some
yeah,
players like that getting involved. Maybe Moises Caicedo.
yeah, for sure.
I'd like to see Aaron Connolly get a run out from the start. Jason Steele, he's a good goalkeeper. I'd like to see
Yeah,
him
yeah,
back in goal.
definitely. What's really embarrassing, Toby, is I've got the fixtures right in front of me, and I've just completely skipped over the Cardiff game, which yeah isn't very professional of me. Very sorry. Yeah, it's not a competition we tend to do that well in, Toby. We normally only go a couple of rounds, but is that because we play our second fiddle team?
I think it is, and I think most clubs don't really see it as an achievement, except Man City, who try harder every year. Um, I think the thing is though, I like a cup run. In the cup, I like the cup run in the FA Cup.
Yep.
So I'd like to see that again, to be honest, even if it is in the EFL Cup. But we'll find out, I think.
Sorry about that, guys. Slight technical issue there. I hope you enjoyed the little jingle in the middle. Sorry, we're just talking about the EFL Cup, Toby. And yeah, as you say, we would like to go on a little bit of a cup run. So do you think maybe Graham Potter plays a stronger team this year?
I think it's not that Graham Potter will choose to play a stronger team. I think it's that our second team has genuinely got stronger just through the fact that we have players that are growing up. You know, a lot of our second team were youngsters. They're all growing up. They've been on loan. Taylor Richards, for example,
Mhm.
could go into that cup game and tear it up. And I'm really looking forward to see what we can do with our second team.
Yeah, definitely. It'd be a really good chance for them to get some minutes, them to prove to Graham Potter why they should be starting in the Premier League. And as you say, Taylor Richards looks really good. Watched him a couple of times in pre-season, looking really strong, really quick. So yeah, really excited to see what he can do. Obviously, he was named on the bench yesterday. Was he also named on the bench for Burnley? I can't remember.
I think he was. Yeah, I think he was.
Yeah, so to be in and around that Premier League squad, and then to get a game against the Championship opposition in Cardiff, yeah, it'd be really good for him. Also like the likes of Hayden Roberts as well. It'd be nice to see Andy Zakiri start as well. Just see what they can do. As I say, just try and prove why they should be, in the mix for the Everton game. Looking forward to that one. I don't suppose it's on TV, is it? The Cardiff game.
I'm not too sure if it's on
Whether
YouTube or TV or whatever, but
I'm sh-
I'm definitely going to follow it. I follow every Albion game, to be
oh,
honest.
for
So
sure. Yeah, I'll try and find a stream somewhere. Legally, of course.
yeah, absolutely.
um,
I'm sure
yeah.
if you make a bet on some website, they'll let you watch it.
Probably. Yeah. So yeah. What's your predictions for that game, Toby?
I'm
What do
going
you
to
think?
say another 2-0 Albion. I don't
2
think
0
Cardiff are going to be insanely good. You know, I think it's going to be a pretty lackluster, boring game, as most cup games in the early rounds are. But
Yeah.
I do think that Albion will just be the stronger team of the two and get through it.
Yeah, I'd go much the same. I think we'll keep a clean sheet. I think it'll just be a 1-0 though. I don't see it being an overly inspiring game. I think we'll score early. Cardiff will come at us, and then we'll be defending for a good period. But um, that's if obviously we play our second team. If we play anything stronger, then I could see it being a couple more, but I don't see Cardiff troubling us too much. And this is when Cardiff fans are going to clip me saying that when they've beaten us 4-0. So yeah, great. Um, just going back to the Premier League then, Toby. Obviously we've got Everton coming up at home again next Saturday. So yeah, what do you think for that one?
I think it's going to be a tough game. For some reason, Everton seem to be really good in the early seasons. Same last season,
Yeah,
and they seem to be um, looking like they're playing really well as well. I watched their highlights against Leeds from yesterday's game, and I think Everton probably could have had 4 or 5, not just the 2 that they did have. I think they maybe even had a few offside goals or a few really good keeper saves to keep Leeds in it.
hmm
So I am really worried about that, but I think our defence is better than Leeds. I think that it'll be a cagey affair, and I'd say it could swing 1-0 either way, and I'm going to say 1-0 in the way of Brighton. I think we're going to continue some early season form and just go absolutely mental with it. You know, if we got 9 points from the first 3 games, it would be unheard of from a Brighton team in the Premier League. So let's do it. I'm going to predict it. Let's do it.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's already our best start to a Premier League season, no matter what happens. And I think it's going to be a similar game to. Do you remember the 3-2 win in Graham Potter's first season?
I do, I do. That was
Yeah,
the
that
90th
was
minute goal.
unbelievable. I remember Luca Digne moaning for the whole game, moaning at the referee, moaning at the linesman, moaning at the fans, and then it was him to score the last minute own goal. it couldn't have happened to a nicer person. But yeah, I really think it's going to be a high scoring game. You know, both teams look like they can trouble defenses. Um, I really hope Malpe is well enough to play it, because I think he's the key for unlocking that and scoring goals. Which is funny because you wouldn't have said that last season. You wouldn't have linked Malpe to scoring the goals, but I really think he's in a really good headspace. I don't know if you knew this, Toby, but he's got a 2 month old at home. So for much of last season, his missus would have been pregnant. So I can, I've been there, not as a footballer, but I've been there, and I know how tough it is mentally to keep them going. And that might have had a factor on why he wasn't quite there last season. And he's come into this season really sharp, looking really confident, great headspace. I really hope he's leading the line. If he isn't, I can see it probably being a 2-2 draw. But my prediction is another 3-2 win for the Albion.
Oh, that's a high scoring game. That'll be an entertaining one as well. Amex Classic again, hopefully. Yeah, no, I completely agree with everything you say about Morpay there. He does look like he's come like a new signing again. You know, all of our players look like a new signing at the moment. Yeah, you know, not every pregnancy goes smoothly. I think that's something you've got to remember. So you don't know what's going on behind the scenes, and in his
Yeah.
personal life, and you've got to remember that footballers are human too. So
Hmm.
yeah, hopefully, yeah, he's turned the page. I'd like to see less aggression in him as well, because I think a few times, you know, particularly against Arsenal, although he didn't really do much, after that he started celebrating by crying to the fans, or you know, like he tried to do celebrations that wound opposition up, and I know that's part of his package, but
Yeah.
sometimes it gets a bit too much, and then it bites him on the arse, and then it just happens again, and it happens again and again and again. He just keeps getting bitten on the arse after doing something stupid. So I'd like to see
Yeah.
maybe him calm down until we've got a guaranteed win. You know, we went 1-0 up against United. He did the crying celebration. Maybe if we wait
Oh
until
yeah.
we're 3-0 up, but
And then do
I
it.
feel like it comes back to bite him quite a lot, which I'm worried about. But I think maybe now he's going to turn a page and he's going to look really good, because he didn't do it yesterday. He didn't do that celebration yesterday.
No, exactly. And I think it's funny what being a dad does to you. You know, all you think about is making sure your daughter's eating and making sure I've just had my wife has just had a baby, but I've been there on the ride. All you think about is making sure that they're safe, they're being well kept, and are healthy, and by doing amazing performances and by scoring goals, he's doing them proud, and he's doing everything he can to be the best dad possible to that little girl. So, yeah, it's really good to see, and I think we will see him calm down, especially becoming a dad now. You know, you grow in maturity. So yeah, I really think we'll see a completely different player this season. Both goals that he scored, he's dedicated to his family. You saw it against Burnley when he was walking away from the fans. He turned back around to them, pointed to them, and sucked his thumb. And then he celebrated in front of the East Stand and pointed up to the where the players' families sit. So yeah, as I say, I think we'll see a completely different Neil Maupay this season, which is really exciting because I've always wanted him to do well. I'm sure most Albion fans have always wanted him to do well, except for the ones that were sending him abuse last season. But I think most of that abuse, to be fair, came from opposition fans because of his choice celebrations. But hey.
Yeah.
And what would you go with the lineup? Would you go much the same? Obviously, if Neil Maupay isn't too bad, or
Yeah, if Morpay can play, I'd go exactly the same. If not, I think it would be a straight swap for Connolly. I think we just had everything against Watford. Both wings were dangerous for us. The midfield was dangerous for us, Lallana and Bissouma.
yeah,
Defense was impenetrable. I don't think
hmm
you can drop any one of those players for the next
no,
game. Maybe the only exception is if you can, if like Lallana, for example, he's not been able to string together quite a few games in an Albion shirt yet. If
Yeah.
maybe he's a little bit jaded, put Pascal Gross where he's playing and put Jacob Modder at right back. But that's
Yeah.
the only tactical or resting change I'd make.
Yeah, for sure. I was, to be fair, a little bit surprised to see that Jacob Moder didn't start yesterday. I didn't even see the team lineup until I actually sat down in my seat because I was working on the turnstiles yesterday, and didn't get in until about maybe 2-3 minutes into the game. So I had to sit down, look at the big screen, and see who was playing. A little bit surprised to see Moder not there after his performance against Burnley, but as you say, you can't fault any of those players that played and started yesterday, and I would go exactly the same. Then, as you say, might be a few resting substitutions that we have to make, but other than that, I can't see it being any different. I think Graham Potter as well has realised that is his best setup, with the five back wing backs and playing the attackers a bit more central. What he started against Burnley did not work at all. I'm glad he's realised that, and I hope that he continues to use this system because it just looks fluid. As you say, both wings were active, which is quite surprising, really, because last season the left wing, as soon as Solly March was injured, not much created from the left wing. To be honest, did you notice that?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, that's why I think we need Cucurella because I don't think we can rely on only having one left back,
Mm.
whereas we have two right backs in Veltman and Lamptey.
Yeah,
I was just looking through the injured or suspended players for our next Premier League game against Everton.
yeah.
Just noticed a few things is that Gomez and Rodriguez are out for Everton, James
Mhm.
Rodriguez, that is. But we've got Byrne, Welbeck, Veltman, Sherpen, Morpay, and Lamptey all out. I must add that Veltman and Morpay are doubtful, not definitely out. But
Right.
looks as though Veltman won't be back in the squad because he was suffering with COVID-19 apparently.
Yeah.
And the shoulder injury to Morpay, I assume that's going to need more assessment. But the fact that he's doubtful is actually worrying me a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit worried about that. I think we could see him out for maybe a couple of games. Yeah, I'm really not sure. It's hard to make a judgment call at the moment because even the manager doesn't know, whether he's going to play or how serious the injury is. So, just looking at Everton's lineup from yesterday, they had Pickford, Michael Keane, Digne, Mina, and Coleman, and then a midfield four of Allen, Damari Gray, Decore, Iwobi, and then a front two of Richarlison and Calvert Lewin, which, to be fair, I think is still a really solid lineup. Damari Gray looked sharp yesterday as well. I only saw the highlights on Match of the Day. Allen looks like he's bossing the midfield, and you're always going to be troubled by Richarlison and Calvert Lewin as well. And I think they're the types of forwards that our centre backs don't really like playing against because they're so agile. They back into you, they can turn at the last second. So yeah, I'm a little bit worried about the Everton game, but I think that we've hopefully got the firepower to make sure we're scoring a couple more than them. That's why I've said that they're going to score a couple. It's because they can create, they can scare you, they can break you down. So they're a really good team. I'm just not sure on their manager. Obviously, Rafa Benitez. He's got them. You know, a win against Southampton and then a draw against Leeds. Would you say Everton fans are happy with that?
I think it's hard to tell from the first two games, but just looking at how they played against Leeds, I can tell they deserved a win.
Yeah.
I didn't watch the full 90 minutes. I have to be honest. I did watch the highlights, but I was watching the highlights. So I thought I saw the title of the video saying 2-2, but as I was watching it, I was like, hang on, this is only an Everton win. Like, what was going on here? It looked like an absolute onslaught. It looked like Rafa Benitez had them playing really well. One of their goals, or maybe it was a save or something, but it was a really well worked passing play for Calvert Lewin. Actually, it might have been when they got the penalty. Actually,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think they're looking really good. One thing I do have to say though, and I have to say it while I can, is that a win on Saturday against Everton would take us top of the Premier League, even if only for an hour and a half before Liverpool finish their game.
That would be unbelievable. I know it will be 3 games in. We're not getting carried away, people. It's just amazing to see it. I keep looking at the table, or well, I kept looking at the table last night and seeing us seconds. I kept sort of blocking my hand over the points, and it looked amazing. I tried to pretend that it was 36 games into the season and we were just sitting there comfortably. But hey, we can dream. We can dream. I said to my uncle, I was on the train with him after the game. And I said to him, maybe getting a bit carried away from the high of the game, but I said to him, why can't we win the league? Leicester did it, and he just looked at me as if I was mental. But this is a quick point I'm gonna make. Can you actually look at people and think you are absolutely mental for thinking that when Leicester did it a few seasons ago? Can you not dare to dream? Are you not allowed to dream of your captain lifting that trophy?
I think if we win the 7 in the first 8, then I dare to dream. But I think it is far too early, isn't it? I mean, when I think back to last season, there are plenty of times during the season that we probably got 2 wins in a row, but we'd already had a bunch of losses to back it up. I think it's just a purple patch. Unfortunately, I don't think we'll carry it on through the rest of the season. Although I would say that we've got a very strong chance of finishing top half or maybe even mid-table out of that relegation battle this season.
That's all I ask for, is that we're finishing comfortably. We're not scrapping for points at the end of the season, and that we finish above Palace. That'd be lovely. Just looking at our stats from yesterday, Toby. 3 shots on target and 2 goals. It's not bad a return.
Yeah, the expected goals haunting us in the past seems to have gone away. We've got the garlic and ginger out and making sure that we're not being haunted by that anymore. Looks as though we've turned a page in finishing. Morpay, like I say, looks really good. Always looks lively. Even Connolly, when he comes off the bench, looks lively. I think Graham Potter's hired someone behind the background, maybe Gary Goals, to come and teach him how to score. Do you know what I mean? It's looking good. It's a good time to be a Brighton fan, I think. It's not a good time to come against Brighton, especially in this purple patch. I think Everton will be ruined the fact that they've actually got to come across a good Brighton team.
Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to what the season has to say. So far, it's playing out exactly how I imagined it. So let's keep that going and watch Brighton stay in the top half.
Yeah, fingers crossed. That's Tony Bloom's aim, is to establish us as a top 10 Premier League club. Obviously, the Premier League is so unbelievably unpredictable these days from the Champions League positions downwards. I mean, sort of like from 5th downwards. So you can have Arsenal finishing 10th, Spurs finishing 11th. The Premier League can do crazy things. It's gotten such a tough league. The quality just keeps getting better. Even the promoted teams that come up look really strong. I don't mean they look like they could finish like anywhere above 12th. But that they're looking decent. Like when Sheffield United came up, stormed it. When Leeds come up, stormed it. Brentford look pretty solid, to be fair. They probably should have beaten Palace. Really exciting times for the Premier League.
And I wanted to touch on the future of the podcast as well.
Yeah.
See, our vision for it, I think, is very much down the line of giving real fans a voice or a opinion, a way to express their opinion. I think a lot of the time, I don't want it to turn into Arsenal fan TV where everyone's just negative all the time. I
Yeah.
want it to be a case of just discussing transfers, discussing games and stuff. So just take this moment in the middle just to say, if you have an opinion on the game that we just played yesterday, because we'll normally probably record a podcast the day after a game, I'd assume is right, Joe, roughly
Yeah.
what we're going to do. Or the day after a big transfer, or something's going to happen that we're going to record a podcast for. We want you to get in touch on Twitter, on Instagram, DM either of us at Toby Pollard or what's your at, Joe?
My at is Sayers311. Sorry, I can't even. I don't even know my own Twitter, Toby. Oh my gosh. Sayers3011.
So we'd like you to, every time something big happens in the Albion, get in touch. If you've got a piece to say, we'll get you on the pod, even if it's just a short clip. We want to upload certain, either interviews with fans or fan opinion or fan stories. If you've got a really interesting story spanning back to when you first started watching the Albion, or a game that you've been to that resulted in something interesting happening with the club, I like to think about people that perhaps had a say in getting us moved to the Amex, because I find that story really interesting. Although there's a long period of time that I probably wasn't even alive for during that time, I do find it really interesting. I've watched all the documentaries, everything that I can Albion related I've watched. So anyone that has a story to tell, get involved. We want to see you on here. Sorry, I just wanted to take that moment
Yeah.
in the middle of the podcast just to say that.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, no, really well said, Toby. Yeah, anything you've got to say, I can only echo what Toby said. Get in touch with us. Our DMs are open on the Albion Obsessed page, so just send us a quick DM, and we'll get something sorted. We've also got a couple of guys working in the background for us on the social media stuff as well, so that they'll pick it up. One of us will pick it up. So, yeah, send it across, and we'll get you involved for sure. Yeah. I guess now we just really touch on the transfers, Toby, and
Yeah,
sort of
yeah.
where we're at and what we think's going to happen. Do you think any new faces come in before the end of the window?
Well, I think I want to just start with Mwepu. Um, Thought
Yeah.
he's looked solid so far, actually. Looks like he's ready to give it all for the badge, not just a money player. He looks like a Basuma type. I think he's going to have some sort of connection with the fan eventually. I think Mwepu, it would be the start of a great window if we got two more players in. But will we get those two players? I'm not sure. I'd like to see Cucurella come in. I know we've touched it already. Would
Yeah.
really like to see him come in. I think he's a versatile, really solid player. I think he's, if I'm not mistaken, on the cusp of the Spanish team. And
Hmm.
he's not old by any means as well, so he's still got quite a few years left in him. And then we move on to sort of Darwin Nunez, or any striker that exists on the planet. Even Gary Goals, get him in. No, Darwin Nunez sounds like he's out injured at the moment.
Mm.
Sounds like the transfer's not going to go through, according to Andy Naylor, by the end of the window. But again, anything could change, with especially with a Morpay injury. If Tao is out of the club, if who's the other striker we
I think
sent out?
Andone's left.
That's it. Yeah, Andone. If Lucadia hasn't been registered in the squad, um, I can see there being a possibility that we sign Darwin Nunez before the end, or the fabled Odson Edouard.
Well, yeah, that's the issue. Is the striker situation? I think we will get Cucurella over the line. There's lots linking us to him. I can't remember his surname, but the Fabrizio guy that normally breaks all the transfer news. He said on his Twitch that we were looking at him and we should be getting a deal over the line, hopefully within the next week. So yeah, really fingers crossed for that. The striker situation, I really don't think we bring in another striker, as much as it pains me to say that. But then, with Tal going, with Andone going, probably Lucadia as well. Does that mean someone's coming in? Does that mean there's something lined up? It's so hard to tell with Brighton because we keep our transfer business so Oh, sorry, I've just got a really loud motorbike going past my house. Shush. Right. Okay, I can speak now. Yeah, with Brighton, we keep our transfer business so quiet and so away from the public eye that I don't think anyone really actually knows what's going on with the club. Obviously, there's rumours, there's what we're told by journalists, but we can only go on that. So maybe they might surprise us. Maybe they might pop up with a decent sign in next week. But yeah, all we can do is hope. And just touching on Cucurella, you said about his versatility. He's just another Graham Potter player, isn't he? He can play centre defensive midfield. He can play left wing. He can play left wing back. Graham Potter will probably try him in goal at some point. You know,
yeah, he's
you
definitely
know,
a Graham Potter player.
yeah,
I see that all over. I think, Dan Ashworth is such a great acquisition by the club that he sorts out our transfers so well. They very rarely get found out, from the outside sources.
yeah.
So I do really like that about the club. But yeah, I think this is definitely a Graham Potter inspired signing. I think Potter must have said, I want him, get him, and that's it.
Yeah, he would have said, "I want another wing back. I want versatility, and I want pace because we're lacking in pace." And as you say about Cucurella, yeah, he is on the cusp of the Spanish team. I think he plays the under 21, no, under 23s, and he also played for them at the Olympics as well. So yeah, he's in and around that sort of scene as well. So really good. Obviously, he'd probably know Robert Sanchez as well. So yeah, get it done, Brighton, please. We need another wing back.
Yeah,
seems
I'll
to be
take
our
it. I'll take it.
seems to be our cursed position. Do you remember way back in, I think it was 2013, where we just couldn't seem to buy a left back? We just kept loaning them left, right, and centre.
Yeah, I
Is it
remember Wayne Bridge,
Wayne? Yeah, Wayne
or
Bridge, Stephen Ward, Joe Bennett,
Joe
uh,
Mattock,
Joe Mattock. Gosh, we've
and
been
then
through them,
you
haven't
go
we?
on to Connolly even. That's as close as that.
Yeah,
I've definitely
exactly.
butchered his name.
Well, it's a yeah. It took me ages to learn how to say his name. I think it's Pocognoli,
Yeah, I
but
thought it was that, but I said it the wrong way first, and then I was like, oh, I can't take it back now.
I think even I probably got that wrong. But hey, the Belgians are weird with their name, aren't they? There's a Pocognoli, and then if you say, I don't think you pronounce a D in Trossard. A lot of the commentators just say Trossard.
Oh, really? Oh, that's
Yeah,
yeah.
very strange.
Oh, I
Um,
wanted to actually touch on Trossard. Actually, when we were
mm.
Trossard, as we were talking about the game, but I completely forgot. I didn't think he looked himself yesterday. He doesn't. He didn't. He didn't really stand out for me. And normally he's our standout player. I suppose it's a good sign, but yeah, what one player doing badly in the midst of a lot of people doing really well.
I don't think he did badly. I think he was doing a lot off the ball. He had his energy was good. I thought, when I was looking at him and watching him, I thought it wasn't overly bad. He had a few sort of link ups with Pascal Gross on the right hand side to force some crosses. Maybe not as energetic as he usually is, but as well he had Alexis McAllister as well, sort of in that position, and it's normally only one in that position, which I
Yeah,
found quite strange. Seeing sort of two players in that sort of number 10 role, they sort of kept interchanging and switching, which I think is quite a good asset for us to have, because obviously teams lose track of who they're marking. Suddenly Alexis McAllister's running through their legs, and then Trossard's running around the back. So,
yeah, it's true. It's true.
I
I
think
just didn't think he carried the ball as well as he normally does. Whenever he gets on the ball, I'm normally thinking, right, we've got a chance here. But it looked as if it sort of fell flat, and he had to resort to passing back or passing to the wing, where he normally tries to dart through the centre. It felt like a rare odd game for him. That was all I touched on.
Yeah, I think it could be maybe credit to Watford to how they set up. Maybe they identified him as the danger man, and maybe had two players on him every time he was getting the ball, being closed down. It could be a number of things. To be fair, but yeah, as you say, he wasn't his normal self. I think that's as far as you can go with saying about him. As I said, I don't think he was bad, um, but yeah, more to come from him for sure, which is really exciting. There's so much more to come from this squad. There's Tarek Lamptey to come back. There's Danny Welbeck to come back. Players to hit their top form. So yeah, really exciting stuff, Toby.
Oh yeah, buzzing, buzzing. Great time to be a Brighton fan.
For sure.
But I'm not sure if there's anything else you wanted to touch on.
I think we've covered it all really. I actually haven't watched the interviews from last night after the game, which I normally do, and I'm sure there'll be more talking points from that. I think I remember one of my friends saying that Graham Potter said that he was happy with the squad that he has, and he doesn't think there's going to be more additions and all this sort of thing. But I think that's just a general thing that managers say.
Yeah,
they're
that's
not
to
gonna
get the pressure off them.
they're not gonna come out and say, "Yeah, we're gonna sign this player on this date for this much." It's never going to happen. So, yeah, it's going to, I think, a week now left of the transfer window? 8 days? 9 days?
Yeah, there's not long left at all. Yeah, nine days, I think.
Yeah, so hopefully by the next podcast, we'll be talking about a new signing or two. So, yeah, thanks everyone for listening. I hope you've enjoyed the first Albion Obsessed podcast. We have been doing podcasts over the Euros as well. If you wanted to go and listen to those, it's called the Centre Spotcast. Just a quick plug on that one. But obviously the Euros have been and gone now, so probably won't be that relevant. But yeah, if you want
Make
to see
sure
our
you
other
get in
stuff,
touch, though. Make sure you get in touch.
yes, definitely. Albion Obsessed on Twitter, on Instagram as well. Toby, your Twitter
At
is
Toby Pollard.
at Toby Pollard, lovely. And mine is, I will get this right this time, Sayers3011. So yes, definitely get in touch. Send us all your content, any videos to be featured of you talking about the game, anything like that. Or even just filming a goal or anything, we'll put it on our socials. We'll get you involved. We just want to stress again, this is a podcast for you, for the fans. So get involved. And yeah, let's make a great community. So yeah, thanks for listening, guys. And enjoy the Cardiff game. Hopefully a win there, and we go to the next round. And definitely enjoy the Everton game. Back to the Amex again. We'll see you soon.
And the new pod on Sunday as well, I think, after the two games.
For sure. We'll obviously touch on the Cardiff game, cover the Everton game as well. Fingers crossed for 2 wins. And we will see you next Sunday, guys. So yeah, take care. Cheers, Toby. Really
Goodbye.
enjoyed that, mate. Bye bye.